Pagatpat, and Balubal, not just to spatially decongest the core urban area downtown, but to primarily spur and distribute the development.
The City Housing and Urban Development Department, composed of the department head, assistant department head, and the four divisions, which are the Administrative Division, Urban Development and Planning Division, Land, Housing and Emancipation Division, and Homeowners and Community Development Division. Under the Administrative Division are the following sections: Program Development and Records Management, Human Resource Management and Development, and Finance Management and Support Services. Under the Urban Development Human
Recording in
Resource
progress.
and Organizational Development, Community Services and Estate Management, and Social Entrepreneurship Program.
Homeowners and Community Development Division. Develop and capacitate or train community leaders in each of the 53 homeowners associations to sustain their development. Establish a communal livelihood program in the potential homeowners association to help uplift the family's income and quality of life. Last but not the least, manage and develop relocation areas' basic services and utilities, as well as their peace and order.
In northern Mindanao. In northern Mindanao.
Our lavanderas. So basically, the department are accommodating these informal settlers as replacements to our existing housing units, the existing relocation areas. For the second income group, those who are earning 9,000 to 15,000, these are basically our contractual workers, some of our project-based income earners. So they are actually being treated by the department for our community mortgage program. An example of which is our Valuable Heights Socialist Housing Project. Here we have actually qualifying 960 informal settler families for that specific project. And for the third income group, these are those who are earning 15,000 to 30,000. This is where our government employees, our private employees are actually belong. And a recent project of the department is actually the city government socialized housing program to accommodate them. So with this much data from our listing of our ISFs to our identification and processing of all of these data actually represent our informal settler families. So we can see here that basically the department has initiated adopting the database management system to accommodate and process all of this information at hand. Here you can see the user interface for our TrueDIS or our True Information System where
Hello,
all
ma'am.
the data of our informal
Wala pong audio.
is stored. Next app. So part of our struggle right now is basically having a system that would answer the needs of the department so we can better our service. And that we do adopt information technology as a platform so we can facilitate this. And with the presence of our geographical information system, we hope that we can strategically and effectively prioritize our informal settler families. And with that, I will turn you over to our information technology head, Mr. Ken Ryan Sila.
Okay, in continuation to Ma'am Velasco's presentation, our next presenter will be sharing to us on how the information communication technology works in our profiling and validating ISFs on their respective areas or locations. He is at the Urban Development Planning, City Housing Development Department as the acting section head of Information Communication Technology. Please help me welcome Mr. Kent Ryan Sila.
Information from
the first presenter, I will be discussing the program we have created. Um, we know that ICT plays a major role at all levels of organization of government. The functions of information systems are responding to the organization requirements by offering the appropriate information system for all activities and ensuring effectiveness of planning and control of projects. Also, the successful implementation of information system strategies provides a competitive advantage which leads to improving outcomes, decrease the mistake, increase efficiency, and reduce unnecessary costs. So, I'll be discussing three major points. Our process of migration, so from paper forms into from digitalization, and what is the features in the program itself. Then, moving forward, what are the challenges during our migration and implementation of the program system? The organization started from paper forms with lots of background data. So we go through the process of digitalizing each one of them. All the old files and paper forms. It is a very gradual process of adjusting to a new mode of operation for the office. You will have to train all the staff, which takes much time. There will be a lot of adjustment and adaptation of the new process. So, wasted money, space, and resources when using paper forms. The cost of making and storing physical records is a necessary expense, along with the time employees spend during searching paper records. Imagine the scenario in that picture, where staff organize all the papers. And now, as presented before, there are at most 34,000 of that paper alone. So imagine how to handle them. Next is slow customer service. By eliminating the paper, Office can streamline and expedite their customer service. Digital documents allows instant access anytime, 24/7. Extreme inefficiency. Traveling a document or paper form from office to borrow it is a barrier of productivity. Through the digitalization process, any employee can access any documents any time of the day. So these are the features of the system. Um, should information system, or in short, CUDIS, we call this CUDIS. One feature is online administration. Uh, Anytime, anywhere, the clients can register at the convenience of their home. They don't need to go to our office to apply and register. System automated feedback will activate. So it will make the client satisfied and secure if they are engaged in every steps, knowing their status from time to time. So if ever there are updates in their registration and application, they will be informed, communicated through the system. Automatic cross matching. So this one will eliminate double. So we know that if you are already registered with the same thing, so the system will drop identify. Asset profiling and validation. Using our mobile phones in the office, this will give us an on-site scenario of the ISF, especially after they take their where the ISF is located and taking the picture assessing the living condition of the ISF or the family. Um, the fourth generation. So giving the management data-driven approach in dealing certain scenarios. Our latest feature is applying GIS or Dramatic Information System. Creating maps and scenes with the ability to clearly visualize different type of data. So in the next slide, I'll be presenting the advantage of putting the data in a map. So here, through this has the capacity to show, yeah, the blue part here is point representing the families. So we can show that these families blue intersected with the color orange, high, lighter low, and medium. Uh, Knowing this, flood hazard mapping is a vital component, especially also for land use planning. With this, we know that we can identify that land is prone to flood. Next. The next one is this also has the capacity to show ISF vulnerable to landslide. So those both data, landslide and flood prone, is very useful to decision making. Of course, we don't want the families to experience the same scenario when they encounter before they are relocated. Our goal is to provide safe and secure environment. Next is field experience. So in our field experience, they have this data shows that the points intersected is the family affected. With this tool, we can automatically know who are the families that will be affected during the infrastructure. Getting more data means knowing more of our clients, of what they need from the time they were ISF until the time they will become our beneficiary. We will monitor these families, how they grow. For example, how they uplift the lives of them by the income will increase, will give education and trainings. The collected data we have gathered will display this kind of report and help us decide a data-driven approach that will uncover opportunities for these families, which will help them thrive in the community. Then, this is a feature. We will after going through the process of being ISF and a beneficiary, we will give this ID as proof, and as if you will see the QR code there, it will give more information about that family. This is not yet implemented, but in the future we will do this. Given those impact and features of the system, we encountered new challenges moving forward. We have lots of data, but those data, some were inaccurate, not updated, or some is mistyped, depends on wrong spelling. So a paperless office may also encounter lost record due to inaccurate data entry. As a result, an intentional mistake causes wrong information, disorganization, and incorrect records within the organization. Ang next challenge naman is maintenance. Implementing the awareness concept requires computer infrastructure, including hardware and software. Apart from the expensive purchasing costs, the maintenance cost of both devices is not also key.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Si Ma'am, no? Ken.
Okay. Nakita na po nga uban kapiyo-piyo. No, kanang kapiyo-piyo kay nakasabot biya kayo na. Okay. Our third presenter, naka-zoom lang siya, no? She is an assistant professor at the University of the Philippines School of Economics. She earned her bachelor's and master's degree in economics from the University of the Philippines. As a Fulbright scholar, she earned her PhD in law and public policy at Northeastern University in Boston. Please welcome Dr. Shelo D. Magno. Naka-zoom na siya.
Magka-zoom. Kadali lang ma'am, kaya nabutang pa siya sa PICAS, ginapa-transfer pa for a while lang sa si Ma'am Shallow. View, gallery.
Hi, good afternoon po. Sorry, I was in another sub-room.
Siya naman.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. So is it my turn to present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. Let me...
Share screen lang po. Okay po.
wait. I will share screen. Ay, sandali lang po. Okay. So I will share po the initial analysis that we have done with respect to the data that was shared by the local government unit on informal settler families. Okay. So just to give an overview po, based on 2020 ESA census data, we have 728,402 population. Ito po yung current population ng CDO. And 190,225 total households. Out of the 190,000 total households, we have 27,000 poor households. So around 14% po ito ng total households. And of the 27,000 poor households, we have 19,000 informal settler families. So this is around 73% of the poor households. Here po, we can see yung mapping ng 2017 ISF households. Pinakita po natin dito yung mapa kung saan natin makikita ang karamihan ng mga ISF based sa breakdown ng barangays ng CDO. So dito po, the darker the color, the higher po yung density ng ISF household. So dito po makikita natin na 61% of ISF households ay makikita sa 6 na barangay ng CDO. Ito po yung Carmen na pinakamarami yung households ng ISF, may 5,000 ISF households, followed by Gusa, Cugman, Buso, Nazareth, and Patag. So ito po yung 2017 DSWD listahan data. Ngayon po, we have a newer data coming from CBMS 2020 ISF households. So, ang nakikita po natin dito ay yung top 3 ng barangays ay may more than 2,000 ISF. So, dito po nadagdag yung Lapasan. And then, nandyan pa rin po, makikita pa rin po natin ang Bugo at Carmen. So, ang nakikita po natin dito sa mapa, ang concentration ng ating mga ISF ay nasa area ng poblasyon. Nakita rin po natin yung increase kasi kanina po. So, from 2017, the total ISF, sa DSWD listahan ay 19,900, so around 20,000. By 2020, we have around 24,000 ISF households. Dito rin po makikita natin yung binabanggit natin concentration sa barangays in the population area. So yung top 6 barangays po with the greater than 60% ISFs ay yung barangay 24, 36, Baikingon, 20, 33 at 17. Dito naman po, tiningnan natin kung ano yung relationship between ISF households at iba pong social condition. So dito po sa vertical axis, makikita natin yung number of households. Sa horizontal po yung social characteristics na sinilap natin. Kung titingnan po natin yung red line, yan po, ang ibig sabihin po niyan ay yung one-to-one correspondence nila. So kung halimbawa may isang household, ganito karami yung may toilet facility. So, yung bawat tuldok po or dot ay nire-represent ng isang barangay. So, sa bawat barangay, kung halimbawa po, lahat ng ISF household ay mayroong ay poor household din. Kung titingnan po natin itong first graph, ibig sabihin po yung tuldok na yon ay bumabagsak dito sa kulay pulang linya. So more or less, hindi po perfect, pero nakikita po natin yung positive na relationship. Ibig sabihin, sa mas mataas na ISF household, mas mataas din po. Karamihan po sa kanila ay poor household. Gayun din po, kung mataas po ang ISF household, karamihan din po sa kanila ay associated sa hindi pagkakaroon ng toilet facility. Ang ISF household po rin natin ay associated sa mga household na walang kuryente, at ang ISF household din po natin ay kasama sa mga household na vulnerable sa disaster. So to summarize po, ang nakikita natin ay yung mga ISFs po ay 2.3 likely higher na nakatira sa mga makeshift housing than non-ISF. 1.8 chance na wala silang access sa safe water, and then 3 times higher yung probability na wala po silang access sa sanitary toilet kumpara sa mga non-ISF. Ito rin po ay batay naman sa pag-aaral ng USTP Policy Brief noong 2018 hanggang 2020, ang cost po, ang halaga ng fire damage sa CDO ay umabot ng 26 million, at nakikita yung damage na ito ay concentrated sa ISF area that are mostly living in crowded conditions. Na dahil po sa pagiging crowded condition nito, madalas nagkakaroon ng mga electrical short circuit at nagkakaroon ng high risk fire situation sa area ng ISFs natin. Dito po, so batay po sa pag-aaral na yun, tiningnan po natin ang road access, especially sa mga areas na in-identify natin, yung mga ISF communities. So makikita po natin dito yung mga various hierarchy ng roads. We have trunk, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Kung sisilipin po natin dito sa mga darker na barangays natin na kung saan concentrated ang ISF, may mga road networks naman po. Ang constraint lang po natin, ito po, mas na-zoom natin. Kung halimbawa, tingnan po natin ang Lapasan at Carmen, nakikita po natin na meron naman pong trunk, primary, and secondary road networks. Ang challenge lang po siguro dito, especially dun sa mga highly dense area where we see our ISFs, ito po yung may mga makikitid na daan na kung saan nahihirapan pumasok ang mga bumbero. Kaya kapag nagkakaroon ng sunog ay hindi talaga madali ang na-address ang sunog. Dito po makikita naman natin, maliban dun sa road network, we look at the access to critical infrastructure. So like for example, sa Lapasan, yung mga dots po ay nagsisignify ng mga iba't ibang facilities. So halimbawa, yung kulay blue represents police precincts, the cross represents hospitals, yung red na asterisk represents health centers, and the yellow represents schools, and the star represents evacuation centers. Ang limitation lang po ng data natin ngayon ay, halimbawa po ito, nakikita natin sa Lapasan, present naman po yung mga critical services na ito, available po sila. Kaya lang po hindi po natin ma-measure ang extent ng demand. So may presence po, kumbaga po may presence ng supply of a critical infrastructure, but we don't know the extent of demand because our data is at the barangay level. So strategically, if we're formulating policies in the future, it will be advisable to consider looking at household level data so that we can really map and estimate the demand for facilities and to see whether there are needs for additional schools, evacuation centers, hospitals, health centers para po ma-match talaga yung demand ng households versus sa supply ng infrastructure. Ganito din po sa iba pang barangay, tiningnan natin itong barangay 17, 20, 24, 33, and 36. Makikita po natin yung mga yellow dots for the schools, yung cross for the hospitals, the asterisk for health centers. So hindi man po concentrated lahat yung mga infrastructure na to sa barangay. Sa karatig barangay po ay makikita yung ganitong serbisyo. Ganun nga po, katulad ng nabanggit ko, the limitation of our data is that it's at the barangay level. So we cannot estimate whether the available critical infrastructure is sufficient to meet the demands of the various households. So what we know is that there is presence of this critical infrastructure, but we do not know if the presence is sufficient. Dito din po, we looked at the maps naman again of the ISF concentrated areas versus yung susceptibility sa flood. So dito po alam natin na may water body. So obviously, the same area will be susceptible to flooding. At nakikita rin po natin yung mataas na correlation between areas na kung saan matatagpuan ng ating ISF at yung kanilang susceptibility sa flood. Again po, this is a bit of a macro level data because barangay level po siya. If we have household level data, we will be able to identify exactly kung sino po yung mga specific households na vulnerable to flooding at mangangailangan ng evacuation if may threat ng flood. So yun po sana yung ideal when we are doing data-driven analysis. If we can have a micro-level data, we can specifically target the households that would need assistance. But and interestingly po, dito sa initial analysis natin, we see a high correlation between flood susceptibility and presence of ISFs in the area. Ito po ay second to the last slide ko. Tinitingnan naman po natin dito yung relationship between the presence of housing program of the local government unit or CDO and the presence of high ISFs in the barangays. I think here we can see a very positive message, no, for the initial housing program of the LGU. It's highly correlated to the ISF households where the housing program is present. So meaning po, kung ito pong area na kung saan meron tayong housing program, ito pong mga dots na ito, yung may positive value sa horizontal line, ay nagtutugma naman po dun sa mga bilang ng ISF households dun sa barangay. So halimbawa po, itong barangay Kanitoan, yung dot po niya ay nandun sa red line. So ibig sabihin, yung bilang po ng household under the housing program ay tumutugma dun sa bilang ng ISF household dun sa barangay. So ang maganda po dito ay sinisignal niya yung panimulang programa ng housing program ng ating city ay tumutugma naman sa bilang ng ISF dun sa ilang barangay na kung saan may housing program na. Kaya lang po, dito naman po sa kaliwa, dito sa 0, makikita rin po natin yung marami pang barangay na kung saan nangangailangan ng additional housing program dahil mataas pa rin po yung kanilang ISF household. So by using the data that we have through CBMS and the listahan of DSWD, it might help our city better target the ISF households so that they can avail of the housing program. And it will also help identify kung saan po dapat i-locate yung mga barangays, kung ano po yung mga barangay na dapat i-prioritize for the ISF housing. Dahil, katulad po nang nabanggit natin sa initial slides, significant number of our ISFs are present in 6 barangays. Okay. So to summarize po, what we have seen so far in the data that we have that came from our city government, we know that 15% of our households are ISFs, and that the ISFs are concentrated in few barangays. So that means if we are going to pursue our housing program, we can easily target the households in the 6 of the 80 barangays in CDO because they already account for 61% of all ISFs. We also know that the ISF areas tend to be poorer, they have no electricity, and most have no toilet facilities. They are most vulnerable with respect to disasters such as flood and fire hazards. There are presence of health facilities, schools, and police precincts and evacuation facilities in the area. Kaya lang po, due to data limitation, we don't know whether the presence of these facilities whether these facilities that are currently there are sufficient to meet the demands of the ISFs or even the other households that are in the area. So with to that point, we recommend that we further pursue a data-driven housing program. So, aside from having barangay level data, household level data will be very, very useful and informative to ensure that the housing program of the LGU is better targeted and efficiently delivered. So, to summarize, and lastly, our key message po for this presentation, good data will lead to better policies, which will, of course, result to the best lives for the Cagayanons. Yun na po. Maraming salamat po.
Last na nila.
Okay, our fourth presenter is connected with the Oriental Consultants Global, the Japanese consultant of CDO's Mega Guide project. OCG is a leading integrated engineering consulting firm committed to excellence, innovation, and sustainability. He also received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Sociology and History from University of the Philippines, an MA in Sociology, still from University of the Philippines, and an MA in Anthropology from the University of British Columbia. Please help me welcome Ms. Lilian de la Peña.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sa tanan. We were requested by Jude, no, the local government unit, to share this summit our experience working with local government, no, in relation to the Frimsidor or the flood risk and management project for Cagayan de Oro River Frimsidor, or what you call here in CDO, but what we call here in CDO as the Mega Dike project of JICA. Okay, so the title of this presentation is really focused on the collaborations with the city government. By the way, I'm presenting on behalf of the project manager of Principor, Engineer Hill Doravio, and the project the team leader of the Oriental Consultants Global, Mr. Kazunori Inoue, is also here with me. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the location map, the project activity map of the Mega, and it's a 11.9 kilometer project, flood control project. No? It was decided after the 2011 syndrome, tropical storm syndrome. That's why there's this collaboration or engagement with the Philippine government, with JICA, to construct flood control structure in Cagayan de Oro City to protect the Cagayanos from another syndrome. No? So this is an 11.9 kilometer structure from Pilares Bridge upstream, downstream, So there are 10 affected barangays, mostly urban barangays, not affected by the flood project. So it's really a big project, considering that there are 10 urban barangays affected. Okay? So next slide, please. So this is the history, brief history. We are here now. But in 2013, JICA, or the Japan International Cooperating Agency, prepared a preparatory survey and came out with the results of the survey in 2013. And according to their survey, there are 1,174 affected households. And of this total, there are 886 households affected by the structure. But at the time, the alignment is different. The center line or the right of way is different, a little different from what we have currently. So in 2016, the loan grant, before 2016, the loan grant that was approved by JICA in the Philippines, and there started the Freedom Door project for the Mega. And in 2016, under DPWH, Unified Project Management Office, the project was given. They managed the Finsidor. And in 2016, DPWH, UPM, FCMC, started the detailed engineering design period of the project. And under this detailed engineering design, or what we call DED, is the conduct of the census of all the project affected household structures and other improvements within the right of way of the infrastructure. So there's another survey that was done. And the survey was conducted by Capital University, which I headed, and then part of the right of way was also managed by CDO University, Research Institute for Mindanao Culture. So DPWH collaborated with two local institutions to conduct the survey. And the survey revealed that the total ISFs are 450. Since this is 50%, 50% all from the initial survey of JICA in 2013. And there are 450 out of 800 affected structures. So structures refer to residential houses. Okay? So other than the structures, DPWH will also recorded other improvements, gates, big pens, basta within the right of way. And because of this 2017 census of DPWH, the resettlement action plan of Frimsidor was written. So it is here, it is in the document. It is in the document, the resettlement action plan, or what we call it. All the DPWH projects with more than 200 affected families should write a resettlement action plan. And in this resettlement action plan, the number of affected families, household structures are affected together with the compensation budget. How much will the government pay for these affected structures and other entitlements that will be given to them, such as housing, other livelihood. So, nakasulat yan. So, this RAP, even if it's managed or written by DPWH, it goes up to JICA because they're the ones have to, it's part of the discussion to have this RAP so that your project affected families will be taken care of. Okay, so DPWH wrote the RAP and it came out in 2018, and the RAP is annually or yearly updated. It's monitored quarterly and updated regularly. So right now, the current numbers, as of March, I think March, we have, the project has a total of 489 ISFs out of 1,289 affected structures. So you see the evolution of numbers. And in the collection of these numbers, DPWH collaborated with the local government, particularly June, in doing the survey, and in collecting this data. Okay, and we also shared the resettlement action plan to June so that they would also know how to, the entitlements are in the plan. No? If you have an infrastructure project, you have to make sure that your people, your affected families are taken care of. So it's all in the RAP. So we share the RAP to June. Also, probably they assist ISFs. Okay, and it's also good to know that the numbers are changing over time because it was only in 2018 that the DPWH was able to finalize the project alignment or the right of way of the project. So we can say that this is the numbers that we are dealing with, the number of structures and project affected families. Okay, next slide please. I think you missed there's another one. Okay. So, okay, I said, I mentioned this earlier, the RAP or the Resettlement Action Plan of DPWH for this principal project contains the entitlements of the project affected families as mandated by Philippine Government Republic Act 10752. No? And then also RAP conforms to the social safeguards of the JICA on voluntary resettlement. The project affected families of the mega dike are results of an involuntary resettlement because it's not their decision to resettle. It's because there's a government project that needs to be constructed there, and they were asked by the government to resettle somewhere. So for that particular case study, JICA has a set of guidelines on how to deal with project affected families who are results of an involuntary resettlement. That's why we have to work with the DPWH has to work with the local government because the entitlements are just so many. So without the help of the should, very, very critical here the assistance of the local government to this national project. So for example, DPWH worked or collaborated with the local government in the compensation of affected structures and improvements based on the current market value. Initially or originally, DPWH is to pay. No? So matagal yung proseso ng pagbayad. But local government decided to offer their services, and they were able to pay all the ISFs, all the owners of the structures and improvements. So lahat ng bayan ng mga structures, hindi na sa kanila. That's why payment is faster than what it should have been. So also the DPWH coordinated with the local government in the relocation of the project affected families. And also DPWH collaborated with the local government on the livelihood restoration program. After relocation, the project also made sure that there is a livelihood for the affected project families in the relocation areas. Okay, and then the DPWH collaborated with Xavier University on the livelihood restoration component. And then also, DPWH collaborated with the Resettlement Implementation Committee in addressing all the complaints, the grievances, problems of project-affected families. So all of these are part of the Resettlement Action Plan. That's why the RAP plan is very, very important when you deal with ISFs. Okay, next slide, please. So the status of relocation. So right now, the Frinsidor or the Mega Dike are given relocations in Makapaya, this is in Barangay Pagamanan, and then in Pahiron, in Barangay Lumbia, and in other relocation sites. But the biggest concentration of the Mega Dike affected families are in Makapaya and in Pahiron. So the current data given to us by June, they were able to give relocation units to 436 of the mega dike project affected families. And these are pictures of the relocation areas. So it's a pretty big housing relocation unit actually. It's 28 square meters. No? So the problem, however, here, no, the problem that we are faced, no, the problem that we are faced here is that DPWH, when they did the survey in 2017, no, that I mentioned earlier, DPWH is very much focused on the number of structures. Ihap ni DPWH ilan ang bahay na maapektuhan ng project. When DPWH gave the data to CHUD for relocation, there's a bit of a problem there because CHUD focused on the number of affected structures, where in fact people and the situation calls for CHUD to look at the number of households. For example, in the right of way affected family there, affected structure, one house has 5 families living, magkakapatid, because the house is owned by the parents. Affected siya, right? So DPWH is only interested in the structure, in the payment of that house. And when DPWH gave their data to CHUD counted it as one structure is equal to one family, where in fact, in reality, it is one structure is equal to 5 families. And when we transfer these families to the relocation, nag-angal ang mga tao. We cannot fit in one relocation unit. See? So that's the problem when the purpose of DPWH is to count the structure, the focus of CHUD is really family, not structure. So I think CHUD has to consider that in their projects, especially projects dealing with DPWH. Okay, so these are really very good housing units in the relocation area, and we're very glad, we're very happy that out of the total 500 plus ISFs, 436 are now given or awarded housing units. Okay, next slide, please. And another challenge of the project is actually the residents living on the river banks where their projects are, where the project is constructed. DPWH will only pay structures within the right of way, sa loob ng kanilang right of way. However, nasa ano din, can you, the second slide, so if this is the flood control structure, the other side of that is the land side, right? Land side. The other side of that is already Cagayan de Oro River, and then the Makahalar Bay, right? So river side na yung kabila. Your flood control structure is constructed here. What will happen to your residents living on the river banks? Malukong sila, di ba? People say, malukong kami din sa dike. So that is one great challenge to the project and to the local government. Based on the survey conducted in 2019 by DPWH, there are close to 800 families who will be enclosed by the dike in the 4 barangays of Bunbon, Puntod, Consolacion, and Kauswagan. Only for those 4 barangays, there are 700 plus, close to 800 families that will be enclosed by the dike. So that is still a big number of ISFs, mostly ISFs, who will be relocated. So to answer this challenge, DPWH, can we have the last slide? DPWH agreed or collaborated with the city government to to establish another one relocation site in Pagatpat, in Barangay Pagatpat, for the people from the riverbanks to be relocated to this Pagatpat, Barangay Pagatpat. So there's this, yes, it's 700 families, and they are found on the riverbanks. Sila yung malubong ng dike, no? But and to protect these people from the riverbanks, the city council on July 12, 2021 declared those riverbanks a regulated zone. They don't want to call it the no-build zone, but they call it the regulated zone. No? So no permanent structures on this regulated zone. And we're talking here of 700 families only for the 4 barangays. No? So DPWH collaborated with the local government in establishing the Pagatpat relocation area. Okay, so that's close to 6.5 hectares land given by the local government, and 3.5 hectares of that was assigned to DPWH for land development. So actually this week it's already finished. No? The last work that they did, I think, or they're doing is to cover the manhole dito sa relocation area. So this is a 3.5 land development by DPWH to relocate people from the riverside. And also, NHA Region 10 pledged to build 5 mid-rise buildings for the relocation of these residents. No? So there are so many. No? Since 2016, DPWH, the Megatite project, collaborated with the local government unit in taking care on relocating and in providing entitlements to the affected ISFs, basically of the city government. So there are so many challenges, and the riverside or the riverbank residents is just one of the many challenges that the project continues to discuss with the local government. So, okay, I think we have shared for your comments. We will discuss comments with you later on. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mom. Our last presenter is a registered nurse and an urban planner. She is an assistant chief of operations, field operations division from Mindanao at Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor, PCUP. Please help me welcome Miss Feliz P. Dasmani.
Salamat po, ma'am. First time na may nag-recognize nurse ako. I am still a nurse, a registered nurse. And then when I was accommodated, I was employed in PCUP, we were sent to study urban planning and urban management. I am Phyllis Deswani, the Assistant Chief of Operations for Mindanao. And before presenting more about our strategies and solutions sa present situation natin, ISF situation in Cagayan de Oro City, I would like to give you a comparative data, no? National scenario and our local scenario. Para makita natin. We would like to see, we would like to clinically analyze kung talagang may problema tayo. No? Our office, nakapagkamalan kami palagi NGO dahil nakababad kami sa area. But we are not. We are a regular office and is under the office of the President. We serve as a link between the urban poor sector and the Office of the President and all other agencies that may serve yung mga kanilang needs, no? Housing, livelihood, they want representation in the community. So, dahil pinatay mo na tatay, proceed on the situation of ISS first in the national arena. The Philippines is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. No? The ASEAN nations, the highest population growth rate, is undergoing rapid urbanization. UN Habitat reports that as of 2012, at least 60% of the 92 million Filipinos live in urban centers, such as Metro Manila, or what is officially called the National Capital Region. An estimated 3.1 million of them lack secure land tenure, and 2.7 are informal settlers living in slums. So, and dahil, so tingnan mo natin, no, even sa national scenario, talagang problema natin ng ISS. But my urbanization, pag may rapid urbanization, merong problema sa ISS, no? Homelessness. So, yung Cagayan de Oro being the economic hub of Region 10. So, ipapakita ko mamaya yung data from among the big cities, urbanized cities, andun si Cagayan de Oro. At sa apat na yun, number 1 tayo sa Cagayan de Oro. Cagayan de Oro, being the economic hub of Region 10, is poised to have its fair share of country's urbanization. Data from 2010 Census of Population and Housing showed that the city's population growth rate from a decade since was at 2.69, the highest among 4 metropolitan cities. No? I will show you the table later on. The city's total population then was 602,088, with 92% of population residing in urban areas and 8,681 of its households live in some form of informality, while urbanization fosters economic activity. Concerns such as upwing in the number of ISFs also arise. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, only 55% or 75,838 of the city's households are house and lot owners. So ito naman ninyo na report na ito actually kanina, no? So in 2013, there was really an incidence of ISFs. It grew from 34,898 to 51,531. In collaboration with the National Key Shelter Agencies, local utility providers, religious orders, civil society organizations, the academic and the basic sectors of the urban poor and socialized housing homeowners, the city crafted a local shelter plan, which has now developed. 4,474 ISS were located in 2021. Reporting kayo yan. That was really fantastic. No? Malaki ang binaba from 34,898 bumaba ng 21,000 ata na according to the paper. They were validated to have been displaced by natural hazards and government infrastructures. The expected increase in the number of ISFs in the city brought by metropolitization calls for efficient and continuous collection and validation to maintain currency and integrity of ISF data. Now, relevant talaga itong data which we can use in planning our housing programs. Ito na yung table na sinabi ko. Davao City, 2.36. Cagayan de Oro, 2.69. National Capital Region, 1.78. Cebu City, 1.94 nakita natin, no? Napakalaki. That is, pero sabi ni Charlene, when she invited me, ang ganda ng Cagayan de Oro, mga pumunta ka doon. No? It was my first to visit Cagayan because I assigned sa northern, as a southern and the northern and the barn. So dito noon si Ma'am Cynthia, ang assistant director o sa police. And I heard siya na naging yung consultant sa City Housing Board. So, tingnan natin, ang laki, no? So talagang may problema tayo sa Cagayan de Oro. Malaki yung patakyat, naging malago ang mga business, and then ito ang problema yung ISFs. Next. Housing characteristics of Cagayan de Oro City. Owned and being amortized, 75,838 or 55%. Rented, 20,875, that is 15%. Rent-free with consent of owner, 36,098, 90%. Rent-free without consent of owner, 8,681, 6%. And the rest, so data natin, unapplicable. So hindi natin sila ma-apply in any of these categories of tax. Total of 137,465. No? The number of households not. So next please. Ito naman ang ating ngayon, yung ISFs natin. No? Families in danger zones. Ano yung mga danger zones natin? Riverside, 2,926. Creekside, 540. Along the road, 295. Hillside, 652. Drainage, 70. Seaside and coastal area, 811. Landslide prone, 8,784. Sendong victims, 15,815. Affected by government projects, 1,176. Not affected by items 1 and 2, 504. 5,457. Not affected by items 1, 2, and 2, but affected with court order for demolition and eviction, 3,452. Total as of 2013 is 34,896. Yan na yung number of ISFs affected by disasters. Ito yung sa flood, meron tayo 16,344, landslide, 5,123, sea level rise, 673, coastal areas, 303, earthquake, 1,618, waterways, 469, human inducted disasters, 142. So really, we have a total of 24,642 homeless population. No? Number of ISFs affected by government projects. So ito ay infrastructure projects and yung demolition order demolition eviction. Hindi na ako masyado magkakamami doon to number of ISFs relocated. Maganda ang accomplishment ng Cagayan de Oro. Nagkaroon ng total na 14,474. Ito na yung tables na ni-report ko kanina. So, ang 34,000 something, 121 na lang. Na-report na rin ito yung mayor. Congratulations sa kaya. Siguro ano yung mga livelihood opportunities sa Cagayan de Oro para sa ating mga ISFs or poor organizations? Meron silang silkworm cocoon production, location, concrete hollow blocks production, rice trading. Ayan po yung mga lugar na meron, MS Catalico, Xavier Ecoville, Baglaong Moa, Oswagong Moa, San Juan Moa, Mahogany Buwa, and Talaan. Meron din classic sardines production in the hub phase 2, June 2022, and rice distribution from Habitat Unity, PWC, June 2020. Report po ito ng aming area coordinator ng CP area. We go to the issues and concern. Let us reconcile now. No? These are the issues and concern raised from the following, from the previous housing summit. Lack of relocation site, ISMs affected by government infrastructure, demolition, calamities are not even immediate relocation. Meron man temporary, no? And only few are selected. On-site resettlement assistance. So, nagkakaroon ng delay in issuance of LGU permits, voluminous requirements, policy, DP, duty permit. Galing ako sa 12, ganito rin yung problema. When this shift came, dumami rin yung tumaas yung ating mga documentary requirements. Kaya hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin masecure ang kanilang tenure. Although maagap naman ang LGUs natin para sa temporary relocation, pag may problema, siguro ito ang tingnan natin na perfect ito. I-secure talaga yung tenure ng mga urban for our ISM natin para hindi naman lilipat-lipat sila kung saan. Pagka sinabi nga nito kung iba na ang mayor or mabait or whatever, paalisin sila. Yun ang mga clamor ng mga ISFs or the urban organizations na nakaabot sa amin. So, in order to resolve that, we come out with a more adequate housing project. So, not fully furnished location sites, no connection of electricity or no supply of water, low livelihood opportunity, professional squatters. Pareho lang. I will discuss, I will point some situations about this. No? Itong issues and concern, may mga recommendations din tayo sa next slide. No? Next slide. Solutions. No? Isa sa mga solution o recommendation na nakikita natin kasi palagi kaming nakikipag-ugnay na may representative kami dito, si Ms. Charlene, si Ma'am Blanca, in constant consultation in the urban core natin sa Pag-area, although hindi ma-reach out muli lahat, pero ito yung mga naging i-present natin ang mga naging problema na nakita. Mga solusyon o rekomendasyon na pwede natin i-consider is to continue city land banking. Hindi lang naman yan dito sa Cagayan everywhere, all LGUs, talagang wala silang para sa relocation at hindi sinabi adequate, kompleto. I'm going to present a strategy paano natin ma-solve yun. No? Kasi minsan, kung nabibigay lang natin temporary relocation, or lupa lang, whatever, no? On-site resettlement prioritization, simplified permit requirements. Ewan ko kung magagawa natin ito. Kasi padami ng padami, sabi i-simplified. We are very rich in law, very poor sa implementation para sa programa natin sa ating mga kapuspalan. Yet, daming mga permits na kailangan daanan para talagang makompleto at ma-meet natin yung project requirements. Baseline data by the steps for skills matching for housing prioritization. Development of Bagsakan Food Terminal in key areas of the sector. Provide capacity building and skills training. We do that now. Moving forward, I'd like to present to you ano yung aming mandate, programa, at saka projects. No? Ang PCUP ay isang agency na directly ng ng Pangulo ng Pilipinas. No? Ganun yung mga sinong president mo ma'am na hindi ng Urban Poor Organization, Presidente ng Republic of the Philippines. We were created because of that, no? Because of the clamor of the poor, the urban poor streets, especially the NCR, PCUP was born. And marami namang agency nagsasabi na wala namang programa sa PCUP, wala man yan ibibigay ng programa. Intangible yung aming services. Yet, marami kami natatouch ng mga lives sa ground. How? Now, ang mga strategies namin is, consultation. No? Sa social preparation, adequate consultation or dialogue, we do belong, no? Inaalam namin, tinagtanong ng mga hindi na kailangan, meron din kami social preparation. Sabi ng mga ibang agency, hindi natin kailangan ng PCUP. Pero, I would like to inform everybody, si PCUP hindi lang housing ang problema na hinahandle. Ang PCUP, in consultation and socially prepare the mass base for the grassroots organizations prepare themselves to yung mga programa na kailangan in housing. Even sa mga demolition and eviction. Why is it that pag yung mga taga-LGU or pag-agency pumunta sa squatters area, pinapato sila? No? Ang PCUP hindi. Kasi pag bumababa kami, pinakausap namin, naniniwala kami na matadala lahat ng problema sa pag-iusap. And if we have a good intention, kami naman ay good intention namin, yung programa na ibibigay namin. Wala kaming programa, yet kami po ay naghahanap palagi ng programa o programa ng mga ahensya para i-match sa needs nila. In housing, like the LGUs, minsan, tama, hindi kumpleto, hindi sapat yung renovasyon na pinibigay natin sa mga ISFs natin. ISFs from the low right of ways, no? Hindi naman kumpleto, hindi makukumpleto yun, no? Kulang. Yet, we're talking of adequate housing sa UNHA, sa RA 7279. Yung right na urban poor, right to housing and everything. No? Paano namin nagagawa yun? We converge all the services of other agencies and we bring it down sa organization. No? Ibababa namin yun. Kung anong kulang, like mayroon akong kaso na hinandle through our pre-demolition conferences sa INCO 152, si PCUP pala ay nagpag-preside yung pre-demolition meeting, no? Consultation. Kung saan hindi mo na gigibain o hindi mo na mag-demolish ang mga ISFs affected by court cases without undergoing pre-demolition conferences ng PCUP. Doon po kasi sa process ng PDC, nakikita natin, kasi hindi kami naniniwala kung 100, 200 ng ISM, lahat sila sindikat, lahat sila hindi qualified. Hindi namin sinasabi na ang yung gaya ng ni Presidente, walang ibaan, kung walang lilipatan. Hindi rin po yun lahat totoo. Pag ang programa kasi ng gobyerno para lang doon sa mahihirap. Si LGU, PCUP, nagkakata kami ng survey, economic survey, at aalamin namin kung may ano pa sila, qualified sila, talagang mahirap. Hindi wala silang ano para sa housing. So doon po, nililiwanag sino lang ang qualified. So yung result ng survey ni LGU, doon po natin titignan kung sino lang pwede namin bigyan ng programa. Sinisiguro lang palagi ng PCUP na yung mga indigents natin ay mabibigyan ng relocation. Kaya nga po dito, maganda no, nagkaroon tayo ng housing summit. Gusto natin ito ng PCP and we support this. Kasi kung nakikita natin ang ating problema, kailangan magkaroon tayo ng solusyon to put up as many relocation and resettlement projects sa area. Dapat meron tayo. Kasi kung hindi lang yung panahon ng iba, let's say CDPWH, nagpa-iral ng implementasyon ng clearing along the road right of way. At hindi po sa PCP. Because we sit down sa mga local housing board. Hindi namin inihintot yan. Pero ang aming posisyon dyan lang palagi yung ba business o talipapa or business structure, ang posisyon lang namin ay para doon sa mga tao na may mahirap and to leave someone homeless is a mortal sin sa amin. So yun lang. So kung nakita mo, sa Sultan Kudarat area, marami libo na clear natin doon. Pero walang umaman. Kasi kahit na qualified o hindi qualified ng mga ISM, ginawa na lang ni Mayor ay nagawa siya ng temporary relocation at saka mga settlement projects. Sa Cotabato, ganito din po. Kasi kung antayin natin minsan, ang problema, kailangan meron na tayong ready. Otherwise, mahihirapan tayo at frustrate. No? Misunderstood tayo. Doon po sa Udha, no, I wish I could assist Charlene para magbigay ng reorientation sa inyo ng RA 7279 with the LGU lang sa barangay para ganon ay maging maagap tayo. No? Kasi minsan, sabi nila, ito problema sa ISF, ay problema talaga dapat mayroon yung LGU. We allow them to stay. That's why nandun sila. Sa batas nakalagay doon, once may new structure, pwede silang ipainagal. Huwag natin antayin na magdami sila. Tapos ng anak na doon at lahat bago na naroon. So, actually, ang PCUP gano'n. No? Ano ba? Anong programa meron kami? We conduct capability building trainings. No? We converge natin ko kanina on programs of good government and bring it down sa community. We are ready to give representation, to give economic and livelihood programs para sa kanila, no? And to secure their tenure. No? Lahat-lahat ito in coordination and collaboration with other government agencies. Ang aming programa lang is the monitoring, evaluation of programs and projects of our partner agencies. No? Nagkakaroon kami ng mga issues of concern, nagpapadala kami ng policy recommendation at tinataas sa Office of the President. Kaya siguro minsan kung sinabi ko ayaw kami sa atin ng agencies. Kasi sumasagot nila nagiging matapang daw yung ibang pero hindi yung totoo. Just like to empower the government para nila sa So, yun lang po, no? Kasi kung pasasalitain mo ako, hindi ko na alam ang ibibigay ko ngayon kinausap ako report, no? So, yun lang po sa open forum. I'm willing to answer mga questions na.
Okay. Ang may kanila na comment na hinay puno kayo ato ang sound. Puno kayo sila na pasensya lang yun mag-bear sa atong volume sa atong sound kay daghan ng buta kung kuskunan ko din na Mr. Jerwin Casimiro, and Ms. Marjorie Valencia from the Urban Poor Representative, Vice President of Cagayan de Oro Federation of People's Organization. Now we will give them the floor. Before that, ako turuan itong ato ang rules no, na ang reactors is given only 5 minutes. Sa duha ka mga reactors is given only 5 minutes, and the presenter also is given only 5 minutes to respond. Dayon, kung manana nila sa presenter of sa reactors, ato din isunod ang atong participation sa audience, no? 3 minutes lang yung inyong maximum na question and follow-up. One follow-up. Okay, we will give the floor to the reactors. Sir?
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Jerwin Casimiro of PSA. So, dito ko mo react na sa katong pinakaulahi kay mao tay dali nato iguan, dali nato mainumduman.
So, come on, that's funny.
Actually, dili gid siya imong kuan. We have observed that there is data presented in this event. So, natay data available. Now, may I suggest in planning magod, mas better na ang data latest atong gamiton kaysa katong mga obsolete na nga data. So I suggest na mas gamiton nato ang data na in terms of population and ISF, number of ISF in Cagayan de Oro, gamiton nato ang data ni Ma'am Miss Magno, Dr. Magno. That was latest. Even though ang PSA magod sa data sa ISF for 2020, wala pa siya na-release. So, the CBMS data is more or less the same with the data of the PSA. So, you can use the CBMS data of Cagayan de Oro to find the data of ISF. So, based on the data of CBMS, 23,000 more or less. So, dili na to siya mulayo. Usually, ang data sa PSA, the way we gather data with the CBMS and the barangay profile of the PSA is almost the same. Now, PSA is reading the CBMS for 2022. So, for the information of everybody, CBMS is now a law. So this will be conducted every 3 years, start this year, 2022. For the province of Misamis Oriental, only 10 municipalities for now has engaged in CBMS. Fortunately, Cagayan de Oro is not yet decided to join for now 2022 CBMS. So, muna to sa kay Ma'am Daswani, she used the data on population 2010, 2010. Actually, population data is updated is 2020. And the barangay characteristic data or city characteristic data is, ang updated natin sa PSA is 2015. So all data of the PSA can be accessed to our website. So, dili basta-basta nakakatag sa data, basta wala pa na-upload sa our website, psa.gov.ph. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So,
Okay, PCUP, well taken.
for the presentation of Ma'am De La Pina, so, akong nagpatiri is resettlement action plan. So, dapat nakita yung resettlement action plan para sa atong ISF. Dapat establish kita siya. Actually, kung nanay resettlement action plan, dapat implemented po siya. Dili kay tama na siya sa plano, dapat atong yung i-implement. So, motong ingon ni attorney kanina nga daghan tag maayong balaod pero wala lang na implement. So ingana siya ato so ang katong sa truth information system, so maayo mo to siya. So that's okay because we're using the new technology for the truth information system. Ang problema lang nato kung how do we implement that information system? Who will monitor? So, kinsa ba na mag-report? Ako ni ang mga informal centers, usually hindi na sila mag-report. Wala na sila kawatan na mukalitra na sila utuma sa anak na area. So, hindi na sila basta-basta mag-report dito sa inyong information system, mag-text, mag-anak. So, we need to, siguro, dapat ang mga barangay officials ang may capacity para may mag-report. Eh sila may responsible, sila may na-close monitoring sa ilang area. So sila pinaka-authority na mag-report or so mga na sa natin sa information system. Dayon, ang monitoring, kung saan pa na itong monitoring sa itong kanang ISF. Naman ko yung mga kuwan, yung mga project, for example, gano'n, kanang flood project na itong sa mga river banks. So, nahuman ang flood project, karon na napilag ko dito sa another. So, kita may mag-monitor na karon. So, dapat, lalo na siya kung saan dito sa monitor. Dahil ka na sila kanadan, after isa pa, that will encourage sa uban na mga nilay sa itong syudad, na mapuyo diya, kailangan may nagpuyo. Kasi bawal. So, ingana siya. So, the information available is will taken. Ang ato lang kung sa atong aksyon na monitoring nato. Because Cagayan de Oro is a nice place to live in. So daghan mo din sa ato. So dili gyud maingon na bawal na sa informal place. Kaya mga taga-uban lugar mani din sa ato. Kung walay mapuyan, musugutan na mapuyon ka sa kilid-kilid. Musugutan na mapuyon ka sa matulog ka sa Divisoria o kalot sa tulay. So dapat tayo monitoring. So, in addition na sa atong mga solusyon, di ba na yung mga solusyon na nagpapit to, na-discuss ni Ma'am Daswani, so dapat ang monitoring din nato, dapat regular din na monitoring. So, kinsa may mag-monitor ani karon. So, mga sa kong ginahinon, na itong mga barangay, dapat makapacitate sila or matagaan sila o authority, authority nga mag-report din sila sa institute para natay updated record on informal settlers. Kay dili mo kinato makontrol ng kuan Cagayan de Oro is daghan gimani sa Cagayan de Oro. So data shows that Cagayan de Oro is a good place to live in. Okay? So wala to monitoring dayon sa ato mga informal settlers dapat na ay livelihood. Sa nakita dito kanina, isa ka livelihood sa isa ka kuan. So dapat dili lang isa. So kay ang ato ni pag-relocate, dili man na mag-stay dito walay income. So mangita kita sila na makakaon, makakapalit po kung sa ilang kinahangganon. Ingana siya. Dapat additional sa itong solusyon, dapat natay ay escape action plan yun na klaro. So, kanalan, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next reactor.
Hello, okay. Because ako ang Mr. Continuation na lang, Sir Jerry, kay parihan naman ni isulti ni hapon regarding sa June and also sa NEDA na very comprehensive kayo, prescribe ang inahang implement ang technology. ECUP, punta, kinilang ihatag lagi nga program, no? Ang ako is, okay kayo ni siya, but what they're really looking forward para sa ISF members, and then ang ako is, ma-implement lang yung punta ang ihatag. And then, I would like also to give regarding lang sa regulation, kasi example ano, ang among kauban, namin is having an association from Lapasan, na-demolish man po sila karma. And then, kung naging ko na there is no demolition kung wala relocation. And then, we are asking for this, no, kay dako kay problema ani ang mga kauban sa mga group. Kay karon na ako sila sa Lapasan na sa plaza na paghihapon karon sila nga nagpuyog paghihapon. And then they are still fighting for this sa ilang demolition. Ang ako lang po guys, matagal sa nag-importansya, and they will be given good situation and masolve ang ilang problema. That's all.
Okay, sa atong mga reactors, no? Sa cancer, CDO, magdagadagan dito ya, no? Kinahanglan na data, ang data is updated, kaya ito gagawin is 2010 pa. Kaya kinahanglan kaning CDMS na ma-implement na ito kada barangay, kaya kumanan ni wala. Ngayon, kaning community-based monitoring system, plus implemented yun. Then ang secured information technology system, ang barangay, kinahanglan din sila mag-monitor sa LRF, sustainable livelihood. O ang kaning potential sa urban poor, is ang yung concern, is ang kaning sa demolition, especially kaning sa Lapasan, na nag-demolish na, pero wala pa relocation site na. Klaro, no? Tagaan sila sa importansya. So, minsan mag-presenter ani ang magtubag, especially kaning about sa information technologies. Yes, ma'am?
Ano? Pasensya na kay murag naghandog sa urban boys na problem ni. I'm not going to represent for pero di na ko kaya nga di na ko i-voice out na. Ako vice president is di pa kayo kan. So, usa sa itong problema sa urban boys in some relocation site sa dili pa i-demolish. Pero napalay mo toong sa itong urban poor, ma'am. Nga dapat tanawon matagal o pagtagal sa syudad. Kinsa man sila. Kaya for example, ay dinimulis karon sa Baloy, puro 11. Ang presidente ani ni doon sa ako as president sa federation. Nangutana ko sa ilang kakayahan. Kakayahan ng nila sa pagbayad. Bisan luti lang makaturukan silang balay. Kakayahan sa pagbayad is only 300 below. Driver sikat, kabandira, mga yaya, helper, ang mga trabaho. Kanil ta mahatagang pagtagal kay inuulan na sila sa Siapsi, itabangan sa PCOP office. Ang problema, dili badawan sa Siapsi, tungkol sa capacity sa pagbayad. Kanil ta mag-process mga tao yung running, ang LGU ang mo tubag sa ilang mga inahanglan. Muhatag unta sila usa ka programa nga affordable sa mga tao nga pinakapobre yun. Nooy kay sila sa with complete facilities. Gati balhinan, wala. Dahil na ngayon ako mag-relocate, wala isang konversada. Matod pa sa presidente, tax basin. Kailangan itong relocation site ang matawag na itong tinuod na community. Dili itong murag ito at mga baboy na ikunabay itong bukid. Huwag na akong iyon sa una nga. Before the himuon na relocation site, kailangan mo itong barangay shelter plan sa una. Mo identify ang community kung luna ngaylang mabalihinan.
Okay, ma'am.
Dahil kabakan ang sa siyudad.
Actually, kanahin mo mga concern ako na nag-sit down sa June. And nagalit ni strategic planning for 2025 to 2021. Kinahanglan mo participate ng mga barangay sa barangay level na mag-mapping sila mga ISF. Kaya kinahanglan na ito ang ilang report annually. And also, ano sa demolition would not part. Of course, Mimi, maka-answer any about sa demolition, ma'am? Kaya actually, during demolition, okay, we will cut off na camera.
Okay, pasensya na ako.
Ang atong conference, magod ang atong, kita na like, yulang sa uban.
Salamat sa pangutang sa panahon, ma'am.
30 minutes sa magunta. Actually, ang ISF ang nakatubag lang nila ni Oga. Last request o ang solution aning tanan is ang pag-participate sa barangay ang ilang mapping ang ilang ISF o land banking sila at the same time. Okay? Ato ka sa itong mga awards. Ato na ka sa itong mga awards, so taken naman ang inyong mga reactions. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Good afternoon sa tanan. Ako si Rio Minal. Nana ko I suggest because it's always a problem that we encounter money, how to procure, run out of money in the city. Ako lang suggestion din, ma'am, because we have an open for presidential commission urban for representative here, which is national in nature. Ma'am, hindi ba tayo pwedeng magawa ng resolution na isubsidize sa national procurement? Kung wala ng budget sa city, dito sa city, paghanap yung organization, local government organization sa
Yes, sir. Well, thank you na lang siya, sir. And i-cut off na lang ang time kaya kita na lang yung lang sa uban. Now, akong basahan ang citation sa atong award, no? This award serves as recognition and sincere appreciation for his valuable expertise on informal sector families and population during the 3rd CDO Housing Summit, given this 22nd day of June in the year of our Lord 2022, Grand Capri Convention Center, Cagayan de Oro City. This Ramos Sahaksay Balay Award is presented to Ms. Willis Daswali. So our next presenter, Kerwin, a senior officer. Ma'am Lilian de la Peña. Miss Marjorie Valencia. Miss Marjorie Valencia, please.
Once again, we would like to request the participants from the other legal groups to join us now here in our plenary hall for we are about to proceed with our next part of the program. We'd also like to thank our presenters and the actors for sharing your time and expertise this afternoon. I know that this is the last government agencies, institutions, private sector, and other partners of the local government unit of Cavite. We're very happy that you're all here sharing your time and expertise to our participants. And hope to see more of you soon in our future activities.
To
Recording
Camellia
in
Grand
progress.
Europe. Welcome to Butuan City, a city of booming economy, bounded to the north, west, and south of Agusan del Norte, to the promising east of Agusan del Sur, to the magnificent Butuan Bay on the northwest. This home of the Balangais is sailing towards the enchanting river of Agusan, and to the hottest dive spot of the country, Siargao. Truly, nothing feels like home.
Mga kasyapsi, halina't alamin ang mga hakbang sa paglahok sa Community Mortgage Program. Step 1. Mag-organisa ng komunitas.
New to life. Friendly faces, adventurous places, bustling with the diversity and economic resiliency. A landlocked city surrounded by exhilarating fun.
Step 5.
From the breathtaking hills of Bukidnon, the majestic falls of Lanao, to the scenic view of Camiguin. This to me is an invitation to a soulful community with nature. Come home to Camellia Gran Europa. Welcome to Butuan City, a city of booming economy, bounded to the north, west, and south of Agusan del Norte, to the promising east of Agusan del Sur, to the magnificent Butuan Bay on the northwest. This home of the Balangais is sailing towards the enchanting river of Agusan, and to the hottest dive spot of the country, Siargao. Truly, nothing feels like home.
Most of us learn so much from our speakers. And I hope that you will be bringing all these learnings sa inyong mga balay and even sa offices and sa community so that we can share and inform more people here in Cagayan de Oro.
We will be able to influence more people to avail of the government services that are available sa local government of Cagayan de Oro and sa to mga partner nga national government agencies.
Yes, and it's so great to see our participants nga hilumon di sila kaganina, no? But when we try to kanang agto, when we try to go to your respective breakout sessions, grabe man di sila ka-expressive sa ilahang mga thoughts.
Yes. And I know nga to ang mga partners are also happy to have been given the chance and opportunity to share what they know and to share the services that they offer to the people of Cagayan de Oro and even sa to mga neighboring cities and municipalities in Misamis Oriental, in Bukidnon, in Lanao, and the rest of Region 10.
Yes, so that's what's really good with aning a summit because it is not just a one-way learning process, but it's a two-way, no? So our participants are also able to express their thoughts and opinions, and of course their experiences on housing and urban development. And not just ato ang speakers ang share, but they're also able to express themselves, fans.
Yes. And may we know if nakaabot na ba tanan participants, nakabalik na ba diri sa hall, or are we waiting for the last batch from another breakout session?
Yes.
Maybe no, nakabalik na ba ang tanan or naapay kamulo? Yes, alright, nakabalik na ang tanan and busog na sila after the afternoon
So, kung na
snacks.
siyang importante, no? Busog atong tiyan, no? Atong brain today.
You know what, Jen? What's very important when you are learning, just I don't know if it fits or if it suits everyone, but for me, kailangan busog while ka learn.
Yes, kaya according to our science teacher, kulpaan.
Yeah, so after learning 4 different topics, the urban development at Metro CDO, informal settler families and the population.
We also have land use and affordable housing, and of course, sustainable and resilient communities.
I know kinahanglan gyud og energy para ma-sustain ang ato ang level of energy pag mag-learn. And I hope nga you enjoyed your day. Kay today is not just for Chud, today is not just for LGU CDO, but to all of you who are here with us today nga nag-learn together with us. And we hope that this CDO Summit or the third CDO Summit will give us an ample opportunity na ma-discover ang mga services, na maka-avail sa mga services, and even extend sa others ang mga services na gi-offer not just sa private sector, but of course sa gobyerno nga anda mga lagad sa atong katawhan sa Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro.
Yes, well said, Spence. That's why we have been highlighting nga this is a korambos sa Haksay Balay. So, collaboration good siya between different agencies and the local government to really achieve our mandate on providing decent shelter.
Yes, and of course, Jen, should not forget to thank our partners within the LGU CDO, within the City Hall nga nagtabang to make this event possible. Of course, ang main player yun nato is ang City Housing and Urban Development Department. together with the other offices na nagtabang sa who extended their help to make this event possible. Atong pasalamatan ang Oro Trade and Investment Promotion Center by Ma'am Eileen Sanoan. Thank you so much for being here. And the team po kaganina, no, ang atong moderators who are also from the Oro TIPC.
Yes, so
Iyo sa kalimti. Hala, gikalimtan niya Sir Ermin.
Kinalimtan, Spam.
Ang City Information Office. No?